Okay, let's start. Okay, we're holding Passionate Savim, which is in chapter 29 of the book of Deuteronomy. Coming to always read this Parsha before Rosh Hashanah. Verse 9, you are all standing here today. Before God your God, Shechem Shiftechem, from the heads of your tribes, Ziknechem your elders, Sheitrechem your officers, Kol Ish Yisrael, every man, every Jew. Atem Nitzav, Rashi says, Melamed Shekansa Moshe Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This teaches us that Moshe Rabbeinu brought the entire Jewish nation on the day of his passing, Lachnisei Bibris, to bring them into a covenant. Rashechem Shiftechem, what does that mean? Rashi says, Rashechem Lishiftechem. It means the heads of your tribes. Ziknechem Sheitrechem, from your elders to your officers. First, Moshe Rabbeinu shows the respect, and he says, first you have to go, the ones that are the distinguished ones, from the elders to the officers, and then ultimately every Jew. Tapchem, and then it continues, Shechem v'gercha asher b'kela machnecha. From your children to your women, from your to your convert, who is in your camp. From the woodcutters to the water drawers. Rashi says, this mentions the mention of these people separate from the main community of Israel, teaches us that the days of Moshe, the Canaanites came to convert to Judaism. Those that the Gibeonites came to convert in the days of Joshua. This is the meaning of the verse regarding the Gibeonites, and they came and acted cunningly. They pretended that they came from a far country, and when they were discovered, Joshua made them woodcutters and water drawers for Israel. Likewise here, the Canaanites attempted to deceive Moshe Rabbeinu, but they did not succeed. And Moshe Rabbeinu did not accept them as Jews. Rather, they made them woodcutters and water drawers, meaning slaves to the Jewish nation. Verse 11, that you may enter a covenant of God, and his oath, which God is making with you today. Now she says, meaning that you may pass through and enter a covenant. One should not understand this verb to be as a causative, or to mean to cause you to pass through, but rather the verb is simply conjunction. It means that you yourself will pass through. It means you don't want to make this covenant. This similar expression, that you yourself should do with them. That is to pass through a covenant. This is the method of those who made a covenant. They would set a demarcation on one side, a demarcation on the other, and the respective parties of the covenant pass through between these partitions. That's why it says la'avracha, to go through. That's what we learned from Avraham Avinu when he did the covenant. He took an animal, he divided it into half, and he went through. And that's the way it was done in the early days. And that completes the Chumash of today. And now we go to the Tanya of the day. Today is the 21st day of Elul, and the Tanya of the day is in continuation of the 15th letter of the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe is beautifully explaining the Sfiros, the attributes that we learn so much in Chassidut and Kabbalah. And he explained that there's 10 Sfirot, 7 Midot, 7 attributes, and there's 3 intellectual. Chachma b'dina das. U'makar v'sheiresh kol amidus. And what is the source and root of all attributes? Hey mechachma b'dina das. Everything comes from Chabad. Everything comes from wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Tainu ha-chochma, that is, chochma is the source of the intellect, which apprehends God and His wisdom, His greatness, and all the holy attributes within. He conducts and animates all of them, higher and lower worlds. Everything comes from chochma. That's the source of everything. Chochma, that's chochma, wisdom. Bina, and the concept of bina is bonus basagazu. Bina is the contemplation of this apprehension of God's greatness. So bina is to understand the greatness of God. In the length and the breadth and the depth of his understanding. So he writes over here an explanation, the length of a particular concept. In this case, the greatness of the Creator entails drawing it down from its lofty abstraction by way of parable, like giving a mashal, that's the length, to a level of intangibility. The breadth of the concept refers to the multitudinous components and ramifications that awaits one's mastery. Its depth refers to the challenging of plunging into its seemingly limitless profundity. Lahavin davim etech davim, understanding one thing from another thing. That's the concept of understanding. That's how you understand the Torah. That's how you understand halacha. Is to learn one thing from another thing. And from this apprehension to beget offsprings. Shein midas ava v'yira, which self-understood, the most important thing is to have offsprings. What are the offsprings? Ava, love of God and fear of God. So the thinker understands the greatness and gives birth to emotions, love and fear of Him. V'sharei midas hanelu b'nefesh elokis, and the other attributes that are born in the godly soul. Hamaskeles u'masbenes v'yirei shavayim, who contemplates and meditates in the greatness of God. And there's no limit to understanding and contemplating the greatness of God, because it's unlimited. One aspect of the greatness is such that the divine soul is bonus. That's a kisba. When contemplating it of the greatness of God and through His divine soul, is overwhelmed by fear and dread. Sheyira tata, which is the lower level of yira. Shebechinas malchus, which is the aspect of kingship. Yes, bechinas gdulas havaya, and then there's even a higher level. There's another aspect of the greatness of God. The contemplator that praises has yirei Allah. He has a higher level of fear. What is yirei Allah? What is the higher level of fear? Yirei baishis, which is the awe and out of bashfulness. When you're in front of a great person, you feel ashamed, you feel secondary, you feel small. In front of God, we feel small. We feel ashamed to even stand in the presence of God. So too you have in the aspect of love. There's an aspect of God's greatness from the contemplation which derives avarabba, great love. And there's some contemplations and meditation and godliness that brings you to a lesser love. All these levels of Avi and Yira are internal and motive attributes that are fathered. How do they all come from? They ultimately come from Chabad, from the intellect of a human being. Yes, and so too, when we contemplate the greatness of God, it brings us to Chesed, to the concept of kindness. Shein Chesed, to emanate from Chabad. So now the Ava, which is more internal, brings us to Chesed, which is external. Chesed is kindness. So love is, as we mentioned in the previous days, that love is the internal of the kindness. That means, why do I have kindness? Because I have Ava. And the faculty of Das must be invested with all these motive attributes. It represents the bond in which the soul is bound and embedded in this apprehension. It apprehends some aspect of the greatness from which one of these attributes are born within. So once the soul has apprehended some aspect of godliness, God's greatness, it must bind itself to this comprehension, to the faculty of das. So das is unity, as mentioned. Das it brings the unity, makes the person who understands and comprehends united with the intellect. Because a monetary removal of das from this apprehension, his emotion is withdrawn. And that's why we very easily lose concentration. We very easily get moved off. So we get inspired, but we easily get distracted. Because we don't have das. We have not unified with it. If we were unified with it, we would focus. We would never ever get distracted. So we get emotional and we get unemotional 2 seconds later. From the prior state of manifestation of the soul back into concealment within the soul. It disappears because it has no das. So it's in potential, but it's not an actual. And that's why we struggle with the actual. Because we have chachma, we have wisdom, we have understanding, but we really don't comprehend it. We really don't unite with it. And that's why the concept of the aspect of a relationship between a man and a woman is called das, knowing, because that shows on a bond. There's a true intimate bond. There's a true knowledge of one another. And this is the concept of the lower das, which extends itself into the attributes. Which gives it animates them and sustains it. And that then there's a higher level of das. There's a superior level to knowledge, through which when the source of the intellect that apprehends the profundity of the concept is bond and connected to it. Now when you go to the higher level of das, which means that I connect to the essence of the knowledge, at the point with a flash of lightning that flashes over one's mind, so that the concept will extend downward. That's profound, the true aspect of the knowledge, of the apprehended concept will be thereby come to be understood. That means that even before I understand something, I have to begin with a desire for the knowledge. When I have a desire for knowledge, for the wisdom, it comes easily, much easily understood. So that's a higher level of das. That's the concept where I have a kishura, my soul to begin with is connected to the concept. And therefore, it comes in a level of understanding much quicker. Because my das is already clicked in, is already focused in. In the extensive clarification and length and breadth. And that's the ultimate way to do it. That's why it's called Das Elyon. To connect, to want to have to cleave to God, and therefore you'll understand it. So if you have a das, why you want to cleave to God, why I want to cleave to God, why I want this relationship, then you'll understand why you want this relationship in a much easier way. Which ultimately come in the function of bina, which is called the expansion of a river, as is explained in its place. And that completes the 15th letter of the Alter Rebbe of Tanya. Today is the 21st day of the month of Elul, which is chapter 104 and chapter 105 in Tilim. And the three chapters of the day, of the 21st day, is 61, 62, and 63. 61, 62, and 63. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. In Mir Hashem at 10 a.m., we're going to have a beautiful Tanya class. I'm actually going to do a beautiful letter of the Alter Rebbe we did quickly on Achitas Day about the power of Rosh Hashanah. Because this is going to be the last Sunday that we're going to have to learn before Rosh Hashanah. So we're going to learn about the power and the true concept of what Rosh Hashanah is all about. So in Mitzshem today at 10 a.m., either at Chabad or or you can find it on TorahDirect.com on Facebook. Have a wonderful and beautiful, happy and healthy day.
Okay.
You too, Rabbi.